got your fax.
Right. How much is that?
$1.90 for the first page, $1.25 for each additional. And it looks like you've got quite a few additional coming in.
But can I just...
Let me just figure out how much it's going to cost.
Oh, that's more than enough.
Yeah, thank you.
Where are you Where are you taking us? Certainly not county. Where's Nancy? You can't sit here. But Peggy, I want to come back. How are you going to eat the prime rib? It isn't safe. I can't lose this job. It's all I have. This job pays for my singing lessons, for my house, for my health care. It pays for my dog. I didn't go to college.
Well, then why did he? I mean, you don't think we deserve to know after 20 years?
He left, that's all. What do the hows and whys matter now?
They sure seem to matter to Claire. She wouldn't be wasting her life out in that damn lake.
Why don't you go down and say hello to her? She has been asking for you all week.
Hello and welcome back to the Potluck Show. Today we have a special guest with us, and without much ado other than saying she's an expert in every aspect of the performing arts, and not only that, a published author who also illustrated her own book, and oh, the list is endless. I'll just let Gale Nemec tell us everything about her, and which is a lot. Welcome to the show, Gale.
Oh, thank you so much. That's quite an introduction. I'm not so sure I can live up to that, but thank you very much for that introduction.
I said very little. But tell me where it all began and how it got you here today.
Well, first off, we have to figure out what it all began is, because how I got here today, I drove. Okay, just kidding. All right. But how it all began, I was born in a very large family. And everybody in our family loved the performing arts. My mother was a Renaissance woman, in essence. She raised us, she was the homeroom mother, she took care of a whole bunch of kids and marketing for my dad, which she didn't know she was marketing, but she was. And all of my family went into acting in some capacity except for me, because I thought it was foolish and ridiculous and dumb. And I didn't see how anybody could pretend to cry or laugh, ha 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 ha, or have all these other emotions. And I was producing shows that were on PBS and different places. And one day I had met some people who came up with these really wonderful stories, and I thought those should be films. So I wrote treatments for those stories. And I figured that if I was going to produce the films, I needed to learn how to act. Well, remember, I don't like acting, okay? It's dumb, it's not for everybody. So I took an acting course and I fell in love with acting. And that's where it all started. The films have not been produced. The treatments are still there, but I have been acting ever since, and I love it. Theater, film, front of little kids. And I think that when you look at it, every person in the whole wide world is an actor from the minute they're born, including the little kids who go, you know, they're, oh, please, Mommy, I'm so sad, or whatever it might be. I think we all learn, you know, different things, and we're all acting in some capacity in a business meeting or walking down the street or what have you. So to answer your very short question, that was a very lengthy answer, but now you have a little bit of a knowledge of where I'm coming from.
But we don't have everything.
No.
So let's start with what was one of the major projects that you worked on that, that has made an impact on you, other than the acting course that you took?
Well, I have to say that everything's had a major impact on me. Because when we have life and we accept life for what it is and where it's coming from, everything we do is a learning experience. It's all a gift. It's all a gift, and it's all something that we learn from in some capacity, which is really, really nice. So, I produced a show called Living with Animals, which was the first show in the country about pets, wildlife, and the environment. I hosted another show called Live on South Florida, and that was a whole South Florida show, and have hosted different shows, teleconferences, et cetera, things like that. Every single one of those had some kind of influence on me in some capacity, and I learned. Then when I got into the theater, I learned about theater. I learned how you produce in theater, and when I did that, I started creating shows for kids about American history. So I don't think there's ever any one particular thing. I decorated for Christmas one year, And I was the only person in my house decorating for Christmas. And I looked at all the decorations and I went, oh, gee whiz, this looks interesting. And that little stocking looks lonely, but I'm not. But that stocking looks lonely. And suddenly I came up with a story, and suddenly I wrote a book, and then I illustrated the book. So I don't think one thing ever does influence me or anybody else, but it's those little tiny pieces that we get from all over the place. That even talking with you today, there will be something that will influence me positively today that I'll take with me wherever else I go.
Right. I think you're probably an inherently born artist who probably dabbles in every creative art, because you just explained how you went from looking at a stocking to writing a book.
That's right. I know it is kind of strange, but yes.
Tell us about your books.
Well, I have lots of books that I've written, and as I mentioned briefly, the ideas just come to me. That particular book is called Little Stockie and the Miracle of Christmas, and it's about a little stocking who's the only stocking chosen to celebrate Christmas. And at first he's happy, and then he's excited, and then he's lonely, and then he's sad. And then a beautiful angel tells him what Christmas is all about. So that's that one. Another book, The Great Elephant Rescue. A friend of mine had been in Africa, and she had seen adult elephants rescue baby elephants that were drowning in a river. And so this is a story of elephants rescuing elephants, The Great Elephant Rescue. That's this one. And this also, my books are all educational in some capacity, and this is a counting book. So it's really good about counting and odd even, and there's a lot of color coordination in that particular book, which is great. There's a Bear on the Bench is a rhyming story about a little bear who's on a bench and he's waiting for people to come and say hello so he can be brave and get a hug, which is just what he craves, and that's to be loved by you. So that's The Bear on the Bench, but it's a great story to introduce rhyming and hugs for kids.
How many books do you have?
I'm not sure, 6, 7, I don't know.
Maybe.
Something.
Close to a dozen?
Something close, and working right now on Dragon and the Meera, which is being illustrated by DC Cameron, and also another book called Hugs, which is about little kids who get hugs. So everything is in some capacity, and then there's hugging God and hugging Jesus, and in some capacity there's something there that's knowledgeable, educational, great for kids, great for adults, that kind of things like that.
Right. And do you think all your books have this underlying Christian value that you grew up with?
No, some of them do, some of them don't, but they're all mostly educational.
Okay. How about where can people get your books from?
They can get them online. Of course, they can ask their local bookstores, or they can go to my website, which is my name, and I'll just spell that out for you, because the spelling of my name is a little odd. My first name is Gale. I was named after a storm, literally. So it's Gale, and my last name is Nemec, Nemec, .com. So that's my website. So you can go to my website and get the books, or just send me an email. Gale Nemec Books. Hi, Gale. I would like your book. Can I please buy one? Of course you may buy one. Let's get together. Yes.
So when did you decide that, did it just come naturally to you to illustrate your own books?
Yes. Yeah.
You wanted to.
And that first one was Little Stockie and the Miracle of Christmas. And that whole story, it came to me. I finished decorating Friday night. I felt the story coming. I let it go into the mush stage Saturday and Sunday. After work Monday, I wrote it. I edited it on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, I started illustrating. I fixed the illustrations Thursday, and Friday it was done. And that was all after work. And of course, I was working till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, then had to get up and be at work, early. So I was running around just a little bit tired at that time.
Were you drawing and painting before then?
No, not really.
Wow.
I mean, I
Just
used to
like
do
that.
that when I was a kid, but yeah, so it was, I'm drawing the best to my ability.
And for the kids, that's all they need. They're not looking for perfection.
Right.
What else do you do? I know there's a lot.
Something else that we talked about when we were talking about acting is I teach a class. It's an on-set workshop. And I started teaching this class because I was on a set one time, film set, actually the West Wing. And there was a lot of things going on that, should not have been going on. And I just knew that just because I'd been on sets for such a long time. So I said to myself, Gale, why don't you teach a class? So people will know what to do. So I went and interviewed a whole lot of people, directors and producers and costumers and makeup artists and production assistants and all kinds of people. And I said, what do you want people to know who work on a film set? And they told me. And I took all that information and I created a workbook. And so now I teach that class, and it's called the On-Set Workshop. And you can also get that class when, if you go on my website, you'll see it says On-Set Workshop. It's a drop down, and that tells you whenever the classes are coming up. And I keep the classes very, very small so people can get individual attention, because there's always lots and lots of questions and barely any time for camera work, but we always manage to just get a little bit of camera work in, at the bottom.
And those are ongoing throughout the year?
Yeah, they sure are.
So you have what, on an average of one per month?
Maybe about every 6 weeks or something
Okay.
like that. But it's an invaluable class, and I say that for my students. There are students' comments on my websites who several of my students have said to me more than one time, "Why isn't everybody required to take this class? There's so much you need to know to work on a film set." But so many people think that when they walk in a film set, they'll know exactly what to do. And my only question to them is this, if you were a doctor, I mean, could you walk into an operating room and know exactly what to do without taking a class? And it's the same thing with acting. I mean, there are natural talents and natural abilities, but there are also, you need to take acting classes so you can hone those abilities in a whole lot better.
True.
And so we do some of that in that class as well.
That's wonderful. I mean, can you give us one narrative that just struck you as just, mind-boggling when you learned about some student not knowing anything in the acting class, or you just expect them to come not knowing anything?
No. I have experienced actors and inexperienced actors in union, non-union. One of my students came in one time, and his comment was, "I've been an actor for 40 years. I learned things in this class I never knew." But one narrative was that there was a woman who was doing a film called Something the Lord Made. And she took my class afterwards, and she had gotten a major part, and she just was on and on and on about, why didn't anybody teach me this stuff before I did that role? It would have been so different. Because she didn't understand the language, she didn't understand what they were telling her to do, she didn't understand what she was supposed to do. All she knew is that she had gotten the part. She had taken, she was an actress, and she'd gotten the part, and they liked her for that part, and that's all she knew what to do. So when you take a class, an acting class, and you know what to do on set, it completely alleviates all the nervousness of, what are those lights? What that person doing? What is this person doing? Why are they looking at me? It alleviates all of that. So you don't have to worry about any of that at all. All you are doing is focusing on your acting and being the character that you are and responding to the person that you're in that scene with, which is so important.
And how long has this been going on, the classes?
Oh my gosh. 2003, I think I started.
Oh,
2003,
okay. Almost
2004.
15 years.
Yeah, I've had over 1,000 students in that class. Yeah,
so you would say it's very popular?
It is. And when I say that I keep the class size limited, whenever I post it, I know it's going to be full like bang.
No time.
Yeah, in no time.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then you have this exciting project of yours that you're doing with kids.
I do. I had mentioned before that there's different things come to mind. I worked in theater. I learned about theater. And one thing that I realized many years ago, let me back up 2 seconds from that. My mom wrote a story called Willie the Bumblebee. And it was a cute little story, wonderful song, and she used to sell it to us when we go to bed at night, and it was just absolutely fabulous. So I asked her if I could take that story and try to make something out of it, because at this point I was in film. I had not done theater yet, but I was in film. And she said, sure. So I took it and I wrote up all these treatments and da-da-da-da-da, big hot shot, right? Okay, yeah, not. So anyway, I had written all this information, and somebody came to me one day and we were talking, and they said, well, I would love to do something for inner city kids at Carter Barron. And I said, really? He said, yeah. And I said, what? And he said, well, I'm thinking about doing videotapes. And I said, videos? What a waste.
Yeah.
I said, every kid in the world at that time, older, had VHS and access to videotapes. I said, why don't we do a live production?
True.
And he said, on what? And I said, I don't know. This show that I have, I'll take it and we'll create it. So I got together a cast and we created this wonderful interactive musical show, which was called The Bee and the Bug, and we did it at Carter Barron. We've done it many places. And it's about American history with a very healthy dose of historical fiction thrown in. So what we're now doing is taking that theatrical production and we're turning that into a web series, and hopefully someday, a TV series that will be then eventually a road show. So it's wonderful, it's interactive, it's musical. There'll be the lyrics across the bottom of the screen, so kids are working on their reading skills. They'll be learning about people in American history. Fun things like, for example, little Tommy Jefferson doesn't want to do his writing homework because he wants to go play duck pins, and duck pins was a game that they played back all those years ago. Right. And it's like, well, you're going to write this thing called the Declaration of Independence when the what? What? I guess I better do my writing homework. And then we'll do something later on in the show called Did You Know? And we'll say, we don't really know that Thomas Jefferson didn't want to do his writing homework,
Right.
But we do know that he wrote the Declaration of Independence. Did you know that? And all the kids say, no. Do you know it now? Yes. So we're turning that into a TV series.
This looks like an evolving show.
Yeah,
And
it
the
is.
content can change.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so every show could be new content.
No, every show will be new content. I mean, every show will be. And what will...
Are there any limitations on the content?
No, there's no limitations. And we write it so that adults will be interested and kids will be fascinated. So, I mean, there's thousands of different people, and we're going to do people who people know and people who don't know, like who invented the Band-Aid, okay? That story is fantastic.
Wow.
That will be one of our characters. There's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that we will be
Right.
doing. So, and we're going to be doing that through the Education and Entertainment Foundation, which is a 501c3. So, of course, we're raising money through the foundation for the show. But yeah, there are just, we're so full of wonderful history,
Yes,
wonderful history.
exactly.
And taking those things and then putting in a healthy dose of historical fiction, but then clarifying that at the end of the show is really, it's very, very exciting.
And it's a
lot of fun.
mixed mixed participants of kids and adults in your shows, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's like we said, live audience. So when we start shooting, I plan to be shooting it in front of a live audience.
Right.
And so we're talking to different places where we can do that right now, so that we have that actual participation in front of a live audience, that also the children at home will be able to participate as well, because we'll be talking to the kids at home who are watching on their web or their phone or whatever.
So the kids on your show, do they change, or you have fixed number of kids who have already auditioned and participated, or new kids can audition for your show?
Well, we will be, when we get to that point, absolutely. Absolutely. It will be open casting, because we have different characters, so we'll
Correct.
want people to get different experiences. Excuse me, little, excuse me. But yeah, when the auditions happen, which we're not doing yet because we're still putting that team together right this second, but yes, they will be open auditions, and for different characters and all kinds of fun things.
How do you find working with kids and acting?
I'll be very honest with you. Working with kids generally is it's nice. Working with parents, not so nice. So parents, and I would look directly at camera right now. Parents, that is the biggest challenge many times.
True.
I had one parent who came up to me at one time and we were setting up, and she came up and said to this poor little girl, go right now and tell her to do your monologue for her. And I just thought, you know what? I'm really sorry, ma'am, but your child just lost a spot.
Yeah.
And your child just lost a spot because of the way you're behaving. Yeah. And then there's also the parents who want their kids to act because they want their kids to be famous. Mm-hmm. But when you talk to the child and you say to the child, sweetheart, do you want to do this? And the kid is, no, I don't want to do this. Mommy wants me to do this. And that's the other thing, because I feel that raising a child is one of the most important things that a human being can do, in all sincerity. But when you have a parent who's reliving their life through that child and forcing that kid to do something like, I didn't horseback ride, I want you to horseback ride. It's like, excuse me, grown up, you go and take the acting class.
Exactly.
Your child doesn't want to do it, you go and take the acting class. Because if that's something that you love to do, you should absolutely do it.
Right.
You should absolutely do it and experience and enjoy it and have a good time. And that also just a little bit goes back to the on-set workshop. I teach all ages.
Okay.
I teach all ages, and I'll coach kids as well, and
that's
adults. Because kids want to know what to do on a set.
Right.
Because everybody thinks, and I just got an email from one of my students, and he said, well, Gale, here it was. I auditioned for Harriet. I got a job in Harriet. I was one of the background actors, which, if they don't have background actors, you don't have a scene. And he said, and there I was, and they filmed me, and it was fantastic. And then I went and saw the film, and my grandiose shot was my hat. And he said, I thought I was going to be a big star. And I said, do you mind if I post this? And he said, no, please go right ahead and post it.
Right.
Because so many of us walk into a film set and we know, I'm going to be discovered. Hello, I'm here.
I know.
It's like, guys, you got to learn the rules. You have to
Sure.
learn what to do first. before you get to that point.
Exactly. And also that's a reality check you give in all your classes probably.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. There are people who come there thinking that they're the next superstar.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes, yes.
But working with adults and children, do you find a difference? Which is easier or which is more difficult?
It totally depends on the attitude of the individual.
Whether it's a kid or an adult.
Yeah, it totally depends on their attitude. If you're going to come in, an adult as a child, and you know everything, I really don't want to work with you. Okay, because you can't learn. And in acting, you have to be able to follow directions.
True.
You have to bring yourself to the table, but you have to be able to follow directions. And so, yes, of course you need to have self-confidence, absolutely. But you also need to be able to listen to what a director's telling you. So, and have that attitude of working together. So it's like, for example, when you talk about horror stories that I've seen on sets, where an assistant director will tell someone to stand in this particular place and do this particular thing, not a dangerous thing, but do this particular thing. And I've seen people say, I don't want to stand there.
Yeah.
I don't want to stand, I want to stand. And it's like, wait a minute, who put you in charge, sweetheart? You are paid to do what they are telling you to do.
True.
And you're going to do it unless it's dangerous, and if it's dangerous, you're not going to do it, or it's your safety or something like that. You're not going to do it. Here, I want you to jump off the cliff. No, I'm not doing that. Okay, fine. But it's the attitude that the adult and the child brings to set, which is so important. And regardless if that's theater or of film, and it's also that this is a collaborative effort. The word team gets overused so much, but it's a collaborative effort, and we're working together as a team to create this wonderful new, whatever it may be, a film or a commercial or an industrial, whatever it may be. We're creating something wonderful and new. So come on, gang, let's just all be a part and just make this wonderful new thing happen.
True, and also nowadays, I mean, the horror stories have been on set, and I've seen it too. The word spreads fast. Your reputation is, goes around. But I think more in the current times of the 15 seconds of fame, everybody with their phones. What about that? That's a no-no, isn't it?
Oh, to use a phone on set? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely not. They will tell you to leave your set and holding is where you hang out all day. You can get in a lot of trouble for that. And there's been instances, local instances, and I won't mention the show, but there's been films, national TV shows that have been filmed here, where people have gone in and taken pictures of people and then posted it online, and those actors have been sued by the production company because they were told specifically, you may not bring your phone on this set.
Exactly. I've witnessed confiscation of a phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
On set.
Absolutely, and pictures, cameras. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stories like that.
So there's a lot more learning to do other than just being pretty on the camera. Probably you teach these in your classes.
Oh, absolutely.
That you have to follow these rules and no posting anything about anything.
Well, because many times now we have to sign something called an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which means I agree not to post this on Facebook or Instagram or tell my friends or my buddies or Pinterest or anybody in the whole wide world, or else we, the production company, can sue you.
Yeah.
And you have to sign that.
True.
But
many people sign and don't even read what they're signing, and that's when they get into trouble.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So do you educate them, the actors who come for your classes, about this aspect?
Absolutely. It's like I said, this class, it's a 4 to 6 hour class, depending on the students and the question they ask. It's not some, hi Gale, here I am to learn everything I need to know about a set. I'll see you in 30 minutes. Yeah, no, no. You come in, you sit down, and I will feed you, because I always do. I will feed you. But you've got to know that you're going to be in for a very intensive workshop. And you're going to learn a whole lot. And we go from everything, it's like you said, cameras, who to talk to, who does who, what do they, who are they, what is their job, so I understand what their job is. Wardrobe, what do I wear, what do I not wear, makeup, what do I wear, there's a lot of things, a lot of things that you need to learn. When can I talk, when can I not talk? And those things, they seem so simple and so basic, but they're not. And as I said a few minutes ago, when you get onto a set, the first time you walk on a set, you're a nervous wreck because you don't know what's going on. And so taking a class first and knowing what is going on, and boy, have I gotten a lot of emails about that, thank goodness I took your class before I went on set, because I was completely comfortable and it was exactly what you said it was. So the on-set workshop is very important for all ages.
That's wonderful. And now we have had a lot that the Creative Society has received from you for decades. What more can we expect?
From me?
In short, yes.
I don't know. More books, because like I said, I've got two more actually I have those two that we hope to come out at the first of the year. And then I've got a few more that I'm working on. So there definitely will be more books. Acting, I'm an actress like everybody else. I audition like everybody else.
Yes.
So I'm out there. So hopefully we'll see me on some more series and commercials,
Hope
etc.
to.
We hope that happens.
And hope to be on set with you soon.
Yes. And of course, Adventures in Time. So we hope to get that up and running very soon too.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations and thank you for being our guest. Believe it or not, I thought we had enough time, but I would love to chat with you again, maybe some other time after you've launched your TV series.
And thank you so much. This was a delight. This is delightful. Well, you're terrific. I've really enjoyed being with you today.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Potluck Show. Until we see you again, you can catch us on www.potluck-online.org. See you.
Adventures in Time, an original time travel series for kids.
Are you ready to have some fun tonight? Are you ready?
Interactive in the studio and at home with social media. Discover people in American history.
Take us back in time, where we can look at the little decisions that people made that made a big difference later on in history. Cool.
Travel with 5 best friends. 2 kids, Morgan and Trevor, and 3 bugs. Bungabug, honeybee, dragonfly.
I've never seen such a collection of stars before.
I can't say that we did a lot of dancing, but we sure did a lot of walking. I'm trying to beat Jules Verne's fictitious record by going around the world in less than 80 days.
Did you know that? No. Well, do you know it now?
Exciting.
So what I'm gonna do when I clap my hands, I want you to say, and I can too. Think you can do that? All right, let's try it. Here we go.
Filmed before a live audience.
Very good.
Based on the award-winning theatrical show, The Bee and the Bug Extravaganza for Children.
Where Lewis and Clark got on a lark to discover the other sea. The 33-man band will make a stand and hike for liberty.
Took apart a pocket watch, studied its design.
Customized episodes.
Keys, make sure I took my time.
If there's a story around, I've got my nose to the ground, and I work it every which way.
We did it right, and you can too. We did it right. We did it right.
Celebrity guest stars.
Bungo Boys, we are about to love to hug. Bungo Boys, we love you and hope you love us.
Adventures in Time inspires kids and always lets them know that they can make a difference. Join us